The Veridian ship hovered above the blue-green planet. Its surface shimmered with rivers and thick patches of forests. Voltal, the alien commander, stared at the screens. The signals showed signs of intelligent life. The Veridians had seen many worlds before. This one seemed easy to conquer. Voltal felt confident. The humans, the Veridians called them, looked weak from space. Their technology was simple. Their defenses sparse. However, the planet teemed with life. Strange animals roamed freely. The Veridians expected no trouble. Meanwhile, Vashdor, the scientist, studied the data. He noticed something odd. The humans seemed to survive in harsh environments. They lived near dangerous creatures. They built homes in swamps and deserts. This puzzled Vashdor. Voltal ignored the doubts. He ordered the ship to send a scouting team. The humans would fall quickly. The Veridians had never met such slow prey. They had crushed species faster than this. The scout ship landed near a small town. The air smelled warm and wet. Birds sang in the trees. The humans moved about without fear. Suddenly, the ground shook. A loud roar echoed nearby. From the forest, a wild animal charged. It was large, with sharp teeth and fierce eyes. The humans scattered. But one man stood his ground. He faced the beast with bare hands. The others watched in shock. Instead, he grabbed a stick. He lunged at the animal. A quick fight broke out. The man screamed and dodged each attack. Finally, he struck the animal's head. The scouts blinked in surprise. The humans were tough. Not just tough, but fearless. They fought like predators, not prey. Voltal's confidence wavered. He sent a message back to the ship. They are more dangerous than expected. Back on the ship, Vashdor studied the human biology. Their muscles were lean but strong. Their brains quick and unpredictable. The humans seemed built for survival. They adapted to every challenge. Voltal paced the bridge. He thought about the stories he had heard. Legends of Florida Man, a human who survived impossible odds. The stories sounded wild and unbelievable. Yet, the humans on the ground confirmed something true. They were unpredictable and fearless. The Veridians had studied many species. Most fled from danger. Most fought only when cornered. Humans did not follow these rules. They attacked first with strange weapons and bare fists. They used their environment like tools. Meanwhile, the scout team watched another human. This one wrestled a giant snake near a swamp. The man laughed as he dodged the snake's strikes. He grabbed its neck and snapped it. Then, he walked back to town like it was nothing. The Veridian crew exchanged worried glances. These humans could not be tamed or controlled easily. They survived by being the most dangerous animal in their ecosystem. They were apex predators. Voltal's voice was steady but cautious. Prepare for contact with caution. The Veridians were outmatched in ways they did not expect. The conquest would be difficult. The humans on the planet went about their day. They lived in chaos and danger. They survived because of their wild spirit and fierce hearts. The Veridians would soon learn why Florida Man was not just a joke. The Veridian ship hovered over the dense human city. Smoke curled into a pale sky. The air smelled of burning metal and earth. Below, buildings lay broken and twisted. Streets cracked open like giant scars. Voltal, the alien commander, stared out the viewport. His many eyes narrowed. He expected easy victory. Instead, he saw chaos and life refusing to die. Vashdor, the scientist beside him, scanned the data. His voice was low, almost whispering. They survive through chaos. Their biology adapts rapidly. Voltal frowned. Explain. Vashdor tapped the screen. Images of human wounds appeared. Cuts that healed within days. Broken bones that mended overnight. Scars that reshaped into stronger tissue. Their bodies regenerate faster than any species we've seen, even under extreme stress. Voltal's antennae twitched. Is this a natural trait or engineered? Natural. Though unpredictable, Vashdor said. Their immune system attacks threats fiercely. Viruses, bacteria, even toxins. Everything is met with resistance. Meanwhile, the city below remained alive. People moved through rubble. Some limped, others carried makeshift weapons. Their faces showed pain but also fierce determination. Suddenly, a blast shook the ship. The hull vibrated violently. They fight back! Voltal growled. Alarms blared across the bridge. Vashdor's scanner locked on a human figure. This one is extraordinary. The screen zoomed in. A man stood in the open street amid the destruction. His clothes were torn. Blood stained his skin. Yet, he faced a towering mechanical enemy without fear. This man was Sarah Sullivan, human commander. Sweat dripped down her brow. Her breath came in quick gasps. She held a plasma rifle tightly. Her eyes burned with fierce resolve. Voltal watched her closely. What makes her different? Vashdor analyzed. She shows signs of extreme biological resilience. Wounds heal visibly as we observe. Her metabolism speeds up to repair damage. Voltal's thoughts raced. Could this be why they survived the initial invasion? Yes, Vashdor confirmed. They evolved under harsh conditions, ecological disasters, and their own wars. The Veridian species prided themselves on their strength and intelligence. They conquered many worlds with ease. But humans were unlike any opponent they faced. The city echoed with distant explosions. Vashdor's instruments detected rapid cellular changes in Sarah's body. Her cells adapt in real time. They change to resist toxins, radiation, and physical trauma. Voltal grimaced. No single organism should survive this. Yet they do, Vashdor said. This resilience is biological. It's not just healing. It's adaptation. The human soldier Nathan Webb appeared on the display next. He limped through a narrow alley. His arm hung at an odd angle. Still, he pushed forward. Voltal shook his head. They take injuries we would consider fatal. Vashdor nodded. They survive with broken bones, deep wounds, and severe infection. Their bodies fight continuously. Meanwhile, on the ground, Sarah and Nathan moved toward each other. Trapped between enemy drones, they fought side by side. Their coordination was rough but effective. Every breath they took was a fight. Voltal's mind raced. This is not just survival. It is aggressive endurance. Vashdor's eyes widened. We must study this biology. It could change our understanding of life. The ship's systems recorded every moment. Visuals showed human tissue repairing in ways alien medicine could not replicate. Cells multiplied and replaced damaged parts quickly. Suddenly, a drone exploded nearby. Sarah shielded Nathan. They both stumbled but remained standing. Their eyes met briefly. A silent promise of shared survival. Voltal's antenna twitched again. Their biology supports their courage. Vashdor agreed. The physical resilience fuels their mental toughness. They recover from trauma and keep fighting. The Veridian crew studied more footage. Human bodies healed while under fire. Wounds closed before the enemy could finish their attack. The alien soldiers observed in disbelief. Voltal's voice was somber. This species is a living weapon. The city below grew quieter. Fires burned themselves out. Human figures regrouped, still defiant. Their survival was more than chance. Vashdor spoke softly. Their biology evolved to survive the worst conditions. Environmental disasters. It created a species that thrives on danger. Voltal reflected on this. We thought conquest would be swift. Instead, we face a species forged in relentless struggle. Suddenly, the ship's sensors detected another human anomaly. A creature moving quickly through the ruins. It was Nathan, still injured but relentless. He climbed over debris with unnatural energy. His breathing was harsh but steady. His limbs seemed to ignore pain. Every step made the aliens question their assumptions. Voltal leaned close to the screen. How do they endure so much? Vashdor pointed to a data graph. Their cells release compounds to neutralize toxins and repair trauma immediately. It's like their bodies refuse to die, Voltal said quietly. Meanwhile, the sound of distant sirens mixed with human shouts. The city was alive with ongoing resistance. Destruction and resilience intertwined. Vashdor continued. This human biology is an evolutionary marvel. It adapts faster than any ecosystem change. Voltal's mind raced with new possibilities. If we understand this, we could enhance our soldiers. But it may also prove deadly to us. Vashdor warned. The Veridian crew watched as Sarah led her group through the wreckage. Her wounds healed as if touched by magic. Her face showed fierce determination and hope. Voltal finally admitted, They fight not just with weapons, but with their very bodies. Vashdor concluded, this is the first revelation. Biological resilience is their secret weapon. The Veridian had thought they faced simple prey. Instead, they met a species that thrived on survival itself. Voltal stared long and hard. We must learn from them, or we will be swallowed by their chaos. The ship prepared to descend again. The war had only begun, but now, the Veridians knew something crucial. Humans were not easy to kill. They were living storms of resilience. And that changed everything. The sky above the battlefield glowed faintly with the light of distant stars. The Veridian soldiers crouched behind jagged rocks. Their armor reflected the dim starlight, sharp and cold. Voltal's breath came in slow, measured puffs, forming small clouds in the chilly air. Around him, the soldiers waited silently. Even the usual hum of insectoid creatures had ceased. Suddenly, the silence shattered. A burst of flame erupted near their flank. It was not the smooth, efficient fire of Veridian plasma weapons. This flame was wild, chaotic. It twisted and churned like a living thing. Vashdor's sensors registered the strange shape. Thermal disruption, he muttered, eyes wide. The humans were not only firing weapons, they were using the environment itself. He had expected clever strategy from Sarah Sullivan. This was beyond cunning. The humans had set traps, nets of burning vines, thick with chemical irritants. Meanwhile, the ground shifted beneath them. The rocks shook with small explosions. The enemy was unpredictable, like a storm. Vashdor's datapad flashed with new readings. The humans employ guerrilla tactics combined with environmental warfare. He explained quietly. They adapt quickly. They use whatever is around them. Voltal nodded. His soldiers were not ready for this. Their training focused on direct assaults and controlled battles. From the cover of a shattered tree, Nathan Webb appeared. His silhouette was dark against the firelight. He moved swiftly, almost silently. Voltal watched as Nathan lobbed a series of small, oddly shaped devices. Each device hit the ground and released a thick, choking smoke. The air around the Veridian soldiers grew heavy and foul. Their breaths shortened. Their helmets' filters strained under the strange chemicals. Voltal realized something important. The humans are not just fighters, he thought. They are masters of chaos. The Veridian way prized order and precision. Yet here, chaos was a weapon. It confused and disoriented them. It made their technology less effective. Suddenly, a loud crack split the air. Vashdor turned sharply. One of their own had fallen, caught in a hidden snare. The human tactic was brutal but effective. Voltal's heart pounded. He felt a growing respect for the enemy. They had underestimated these beings. The battlefield was alive with motion. Shadowy figures darted in and out of view. The humans used hit-and-run methods. They struck fast, then vanished before the Veridians could respond. Each attack was unpredictable. It was as if the humans danced with the chaos they created. Voltal recalled what Vashdor had reported earlier. The human species had evolved in a world full of danger. They faced predators larger and stronger. They survived by being cunning and fearless. Now, that fearlessness showed in battle. The Veridian soldiers adjusted their tactics. They formed tighter groups. They moved cautiously, avoiding open spaces. Yet every step felt uncertain. The humans seemed to be everywhere and nowhere at once. Voltal's confidence wavered. He had faced many foes in his career. Meanwhile, smoke filled the valley. Its acrid smell burned the nostrils. The stars flickered as the fires grew. The humans' unorthodox tactics created a battlefield that was wild and chaotic. For every move the Veridians made, the humans had a counter. The alien technology struggled to adapt to this new style of warfare. Voltal's thoughts turned inward. He remembered the stories told among Veridians about humanity. They called them reckless, unstable. Now he saw another truth. The humans were unpredictable by design. Their tactics were born from centuries of surviving harsh conditions. Their very nature was to disrupt and confuse. The sound of gunfire echoed again. This time, it was accompanied by strange, sharp whistles. The humans used slingshots and primitive bows alongside their guns. Voltal's soldiers exchanged confused glances. How could beings so advanced also use such simple weapons? Vashdor examined the data. Their diverse weaponry is a mix of high-tech and low-tech, he said. This diversity makes them hard to counter. Voltal nodded slowly. The humans' flexibility was their greatest strength. The Veridian army prized uniformity and consistency. The humans prized adaptability. Suddenly, a small explosion rocked the ground near Voltal. Debris fell around him. He smelled smoke and burning metal. Nathan Webb appeared again, this time holding what looked like a metal rod with wires. He tossed it at the Veridians. The device exploded in a shower of sparks and noise. The Veridians staggered. Their comm systems crackled and failed for a moment. Voltal saw the human soldier's face briefly. It was not just determination. A thrill of battle danced in Nathan's eyes. These humans fought not only to survive. They fought because they loved the chaos. Voltal raised his voice. "Regroup," he ordered. His soldiers scrambled to obey. The humans pulled back, slipping away into the darkness. Their tactics had worked. They struck hard, then vanished before the Veridians could mount a real defense. The commander took a deep breath. The night air was thick with tension and smoke. He looked up at the stars again. This battle was far from over. But one thing was clear. The humans were not a race to be underestimated. Vashdor joined him. "We must learn from them," he said quietly. "Their chaos and adaptability are keys to their survival." Voltal nodded. He knew the Veridian way needed to change. The old methods would not win this war. Meanwhile, the fires burned low. The strange sounds of the wild returned. Somewhere, a bird cried out, its call sharp and eerie. The battlefield was silent again, but the fight had changed forever. Voltal's last thought before sleep claimed him was simple. We face not just warriors. We face the chaos of life itself. The humans were a puzzle wrapped in unpredictability. And now, the Veridians were determined to solve it. The dawn would bring new challenges. But for now, the night belonged to the strange, unorthodox tactics of the Florida man. Voltal paced the bridge of the Veridian command ship. The stars outside glittered cold and distant. He rubbed his chin, deep in thought. The last battle against the humans had ended. However, the outcome still puzzled him. The humans had not acted like any other species the Veridians had met. They fought with reckless bravery. They trusted each other in strange ways. Their bonds were chaotic, unpredictable. Voltal wanted to understand this better. Meanwhile, Vashdor, the alien scientist, studied the data streams flowing across the holo display. The human social patterns baffled him. Their groups formed and broke apart like shifting sands. Alliances changed without warning. Yet their unity in crisis was almost perfect. Vashdor sighed. Their social bonds defy logic, he thought. We expect order, but they thrive in chaos. The scientist's green eyes flickered with curiosity. He wanted more information. The Veridian ship drifted toward Earth's orbit. Below, the planet gleamed with oceans and continents. The air smelled faintly of iron and salt, carried by sensors. He recalled the strange friendships among the humans. Friends who argued loudly, then saved each other's lives moments later. Suddenly, a comm alert beeped sharply. "Commander, the humans have sent a message," announced an officer. He tapped the screen, bringing up a rough translation. The message read, "Why fight? Because we care. We live because we trust the chaos." The phrase echoed oddly in Voltal's mind. He stared at the words, trying to grasp their meaning. Outside the window, the planet's blue-green surface twisted with clouds. The human world was alive with noise and movement. Cities buzzed with millions of voices. Yet, beneath the noise, a strange order existed. A pattern Voltal could not yet see. Vashdor moved closer. "Their social bonds are tangled like vines," he said quietly. "But they hold. They support each other through storms, both literal and metaphorical." He tapped a series of charts. "Their emotional connections seem messy but are strong." Voltal considered this. The Veridians prized discipline and order above all. Yet, the humans used chaos as a shield. Their unpredictable alliances confused enemies. Their shifting friendships created resilience. Outside, a storm brewed over a coastal city. Lightning cracked through dark clouds. The wind howled like a wild beast. Voltal watched the storm's fury. It reminded him of the human spirit, uncontrolled and fierce. He remembered a human soldier named Nathan Webb. During battle, Nathan had risked his life to save a stranger. They barely knew each other. Yet, Nathan acted without hesitation. Voltal could not understand this impulse. It defied strategic sense. Meanwhile, Sarah Sullivan, the human commander, led her squad through the rain-soaked streets. Her voice was calm but firm. "Stay close and cover each other," she ordered. Lightning flashed, illuminating their determined faces. Sarah's team moved like a living web. They covered each other's backs with fierce loyalty. Every member knew their role, but flexibility was key. The group adapted to changing dangers. Voltal's mind raced as he watched the humans. Their social chaos creates unity, he thought. It is a form of strength we do not have. He felt a strange envy. Vashdor analyzed more data. Their friendships form quickly and break just as fast, he explained. But the bonds that matter survived. They become unbreakable during conflict. He pointed to a graph showing spikes in social interaction during crisis. The scientist's voice lowered. Their emotions drive them. Sometimes they act foolishly. Yet that foolishness leads to survival. He smiled faintly. It is beautiful in its own way. Voltal nodded slowly. He felt respect growing for these humans. Their chaotic social bonds were not weaknesses. They were survival tools. Tools forged in the fires of a hostile world. A sudden alarm interrupted his thoughts. The ship shuddered as a meteor shower began. The crew scrambled to dodge the incoming rocks. Voltal gripped the railing tightly. The chaos outside mirrored the chaos within. After the danger passed, silence returned. Voltal looked out at Earth once more. The planet thrived in its unpredictable ways. The humans thrived too, tangled in their chaotic bonds. He realized something important. The Veridians needed to learn from humans. Not just their weapons or tactics, but their way of connecting. Their messy, tangled friendships held the key to survival. Vashdor approached the commander. "We must study their social chaos more closely," he urged. "It shapes them in ways we never imagined." His eyes shone with excitement. Voltal agreed. "Prepare a research team," he ordered. "We will observe their social interactions directly." His voice held new determination. "Why must understand the chaos if we want to coexist or conquer?" Meanwhile, back on Earth, Nathan and Sarah moved through the wreckage of a collapsed building. The air smelled of dust and burnt metal. Sounds of distant sirens filled the night. Their team worked quickly to rescue trapped civilians. Nathan paused and looked at Sarah. His eyes were tired but steady. They shared a brief nod. Their trust was clear. It was born from chaotic bonds, fragile but fierce. Voltal watched this scene unfold through surveillance drones. He felt a strange warmth deep inside. The humans' chaotic social bonds baffled him, but they also inspired him. He understood now why humans survived, not because they were the strongest or fastest. Because they loved wildly. Their chaos was their power. The Veridians faced a new challenge: to study these chaotic bonds, to learn their strange beauty, to face a species unlike any they had known, and perhaps to change themselves forever. The sun hung low over the swamp, casting long shadows through twisted cypress trees. The air smelled thick and heavy, a mix of damp earth and rotting leaves. Somewhere nearby, frogs croaked. The Veridian soldiers moved cautiously, their sharp eyes scanning the murky water. Voltal's heart beat fast. This was nothing like the clean, ordered battlefields they were used to. Suddenly, a rustle came from the bushes. Vashdor raised his scanner, but before he could react, a figure burst into view. His clothes were torn, his eyes bright with fierce intelligence and madness all at once. This was no ordinary human. This was the Florida man the Veridians whispered about in fear. The man held a gator by its tail. The beast's jaws snapped shut just inches from his hand. Yet, the man laughed, a loud, wild sound that echoed through the swamp. He swung the alligator like a club, smashing it against a tree. The creature went limp. The man's grin widened. He looked directly at Voltal. Meanwhile, Voltal's soldiers raised their weapons. The swamp exploded with gunfire and shouts. The man dodged and weaved like a whirlwind of chaos. Bullets struck trees and splashed water, but none touched him. His moves were strange, unpredictable. Like the swamp itself was his ally. Vashdor's eyes widened behind his visor. "Commander," he gasped, "this human defies all logic. His survival skills are beyond anything we calculated." Voltal nodded, heart pounding. He realized their plan was crumbling. They had underestimated this species. Worse, they had been blind to the human's wild, raw power. The man suddenly charged forward, screaming a battle cry. His hands grabbed a fallen branch, now a makeshift spear. He lunged at Voltal's nearest soldier. The Veridian barely dodged. The branch sliced through the air and cracked the soldier's armor. The man's strength was ridiculous. Meanwhile, Sarah Sullivan and Nathan Webb watched from behind a cluster of trees. Sarah's jaw was tight. She'd trained for this moment. She knew this Florida man was more than legend. He was the heart of human survival here. Nathan whispered, "He's insane, but he's our best chance." Suddenly, the man spun, kicking a Veridian soldier into the swamp. The alien struggled in the murky water, thrashing wildly. The man laughed again, wild and free. His spirit was untamable. They had weapons, numbers, and technology. But none of that mattered here. This human fought with the swamp itself. His rage, his cunning, his madness, they were weapons no laser could match. Vashdor took a step back, scanning the battlefield. "Commander," he said, voice shaky, "we must retreat. This phenomenon cannot be controlled." But Voltal's pride burned hot. He raised his arm, signaling his troops. "Hold the line," he ordered. The battle grew chaotic. Suddenly, several more humans appeared from the shadows. They moved fast, striking from unexpected angles. The Veridians found themselves surrounded. The swamp was alive with wild cries and gunfire. The taste of mud filled Voltal's mouth. The scent of smoke and wet earth was overwhelming. The swamp seemed endless, a maze with no escape. Meanwhile, Sarah led her squad forward, her voice steady despite the chaos. They fought like animals, driven by survival and fury. Every step, every shot was a step toward victory. Voltal stumbled back, watching his soldiers fall one by one. The Florida man and his kin were relentless. The humans embraced the chaos. The Veridians' advanced tactics felt useless against this reckless defiance. The swamp was their battlefield, and the humans were its wild heart. Suddenly, a Veridian soldier screamed as the Florida man grabbed him by the collar. The man's eyes shone like fire. He growled something unintelligible but fierce. Then, with a savage roar, he flung the soldier into the dense brush. Voltal's hands shook. This was no ordinary enemy. This was a force of nature. The humans' madness was their strength. Meanwhile, in the distance, the sky began to darken. Thick clouds rolled in as if the swamp itself responded to the battle. Thunder growled low, a warning from the storm. Voltal realized time was running out. His troops were exhausted, their morale shattered. He saw Sarah stand tall, rallying her fighters with a fierce cry. The humans pushed forward, relentless as the tide. Voltal bit his lip, then lowered his weapon. He raised his hand in surrender. The swamp fell eerily silent but for the rain that began to fall. The Florida man approached, dripping wet but unbowed. His wild eyes met Voltal's. Voltal nodded slowly. These humans were not just survivors. They were the apex predators of this tangled world. Their chaos was their power. Their madness was survival. The Florida man grinned a wild, toothy smile. He turned and disappeared into the swamp, leaving the Veridians stunned and defeated. Meanwhile, Voltal looked at his battered soldiers. He thought about what Vashdor had said. This was not just a battle. The humans of Florida were not a joke. They were a force of nature, a living, breathing mystery that no alien empire could simply conquer. The swamp swallowed the sounds of the retreating Veridians. The rain fell harder now, washing away the signs of battle. Voltal vowed to remember this day, to study the humans more deeply, to understand the madness that made them so deadly. And somewhere deep in the Veridian archives, the name Florida Man was written in bold, a warning and a curiosity, the legend that would change everything. The swamp hummed quietly under the storm's roar. The battle was over, but the war was just beginning. Humans survived not because they were orderly or clean. They survived because they were wild. The Veridians had learned their greatest lesson yet. Never underestimate the chaos of the Florida man. The swamp lay quiet now. Mist drifted softly over dark waters. The air smelled of wet earth and green decay. Voltal stood by the edge watching. The strange planet had shown its teeth. It had fought back with swamp and sun, with beast and man. Vashdor was nearby, scribbling notes fast. His eyes were wide with wonder. This ecosystem, he thought, is unlike any we have seen. The humans here were not just survivors, they were the apex of chaos. Voltal's thoughts raced. He had expected an easy conquest. The Veridian Empire had never met a foe like this. The humans thrived in danger. They turned threats into tools. And they laughed in the face of death. That was the true lesson the swamp taught. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps broke the quiet. Sarah Sullivan appeared, muddy and tired. Her clothes were torn, but her spirit burned bright. She smiled faintly at Voltal. Just fierce pride and quiet strength. Nathan Webb followed, carrying a wounded comrade. His face was grim but steady. They had fought hard to protect their home. Every scar told a story of survival. Every breath was a claim on this wild, untamed land. Voltal stepped forward. He felt a strange respect growing inside. The humans were not monsters. They were warriors born of struggle. They knew pain, but they also knew hope. The swamp had forged them into a force no empire could ignore. Meanwhile, Vashdor finished his notes. He looked up at Voltal. "We have much to learn from them," he said. "Their biology, their tactics, their spirit." The scientist's voice was filled with awe. "They are not just a species. They are a living lesson in resilience." The sun climbed higher, burning away the last of the mist. Light spilled over the tangled trees and murky waters. The swamp seemed less threatening now. It had given up its secrets. And in doing so, it had changed the course of an empire. Voltal nodded slowly. The mission had shifted. They would not conquer this world by force. Instead, they would listen. The Veridian Empire would grow stronger by understanding humanity. Sarah and Nathan joined Voltal and Vashdor. Together, they looked out over the swamp, the place that had tested them all, the place that had revealed the truth about the human race. The sounds of the swamp returned. Frogs croaked, birds called, insects buzzed. Life pulsed through every inch of this strange land. It was fierce and fragile all at once. Just like the humans who walked it, Voltal breathed in the heavy air. It was thick with possibility. The swamp was not an enemy, a mirror reflecting the wild heart of its people. Suddenly, a small movement caught Voltal's eye. A Florida man, tall and rugged, stepped out from behind a tree. He grinned, holding a makeshift spear. His eyes sparkled with fearless madness. The legend was alive. Voltal smiled for the first time. "Florida man," he whispered. "The ultimate survivor." The Veridian team knew the path ahead would be hard, but they also knew it would be worth it. This world, with all its dangers, held the key to a new future. Sarah looked at Voltal. "We fight to live," she said. "But we learn to thrive." Vashdor nodded. "And through their madness, we find method." Nathan chuckled softly. "Only on Earth, huh?" The swamp seemed to laugh with them. It was alive and endless. It held stories yet untold. Stories of a species that would not break. Voltal felt the weight of those stories settle in his mind. They were not enemies now. They were allies in survival, partners in the great dance of life. The Veridian ship hummed softly in the distance. It waited patiently for its crew. The journey was far from over. But now, it was a journey shared. The swamp whispered its final lesson. Survival was not just strength or numbers. It was cunning, courage, and chaos. It was the wild spark that set humanity apart. Voltal turned to his team. "Let us carry this lesson," he said, "into the stars." The sun blazed down on the swamp. Life pulsed strong and true. The story of Florida man was now a part of the galaxy's great tapestry. And somewhere deep in the swamp, another wild laugh echoed. The legend would live on. The lesson would never fade. The Empire had found its new teacher. The swamp held its breath, and the universe listened.